right, and welcome to another episode of the Butler's Babble here. And do we have a great show lined up for you today? And I've got to get used to looking at the camera when I'm talking. I'm always used to looking at the different screens and that make sure everything's running. But I'm going to be looking at the camera when I can. But no, we have a great show for you today, and we'll get to that in a second. I just want to do a little housekeeping, of course, at the beginning for anybody who's new to this podcast. Welcome, and hope you enjoy what you're going to see today. I think you're going to be inspired. You're going to be motivated. That's the whole point of this show. But just remember, if you get a chance, go for a second, go over to StreamYard.com/Facebook. And if you're watching this through Facebook, and give StreamYard permission to use your name. That way you can put live comments in here as we are talking, and we can answer your questions and we can pop them up on the screen. And it's nice to know who it is that's talking to us instead of having to look over and try and find it. So if you get a chance, go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Give them permission to use your name, and they're not going to send you spam or anything. It's just because it's a third-party software, they need permission to do so. Other than that, I want to get to the show because I know it's going to be jam-packed with a lot of information. And I know I'm wearing headphones today. If it looks a little different, it's because we were having a little bit of audio trouble just before we came on here, and I figured this would be the best way, and it seems like it works. So, but today's guest we're going to bring to you today, I mean, she's been through a lot through her life. I know she's going to motivate you and inspire you with her story, but we're going to bring her in and let her tell us everything. Let's bring in Candice right now. We got Candice Kirkbride. Candice, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. It's nice to see you.
It's great to see you. And just so everybody knows, I have Candice's book here. I got it about a week and a half ago, I think it was, and I've finally had a chance to sit down and read. I've almost finished it. I've gotten through most of it. It's an amazing story, well written, very descriptive, a lot of humor in it too in there. That's the good thing about it, is it's just not all dark stuff. There's a lot of humor in there, but a lot of inspiration. And one thing I liked about it too was a lot of the poetry, but we'll get to the book a little bit later on. First, why don't we find out a bit more about Candice? So why don't you give us a little brief history? Tell us a little bit about Candice as a child, a little bit of your family, things like that.
As a child, I was always funny. I was always telling jokes. That's just ingrained in me. But I was afraid of my own shadow. When it was time to take attendance in class and the teacher would say my name, I would raise my hand a little bit. My face would go beet red and I would look down. I don't know why I was so afraid. And now my whole life revolves around communication, and I can be on stage in front of hundreds of people and it wouldn't even faze me. I thrive off energy of the crowd now. I grew up in like a mid-class working family in the Valley. My parents are still together. They're going to be celebrating 38 years of marriage next month. Wow. 43 years since their first date. And I was born like 10 months to the day, so I'm a honeymoon baby. And I'm just so grateful for my family. Those are my people.
And I know you live in Sudbury now, but the town, I forget in the book there was the town that you were born in that. I forget what it was called.
Valcarin.
Yeah, is that just outside of Sudbury or?
Yeah, it's about a 20-minute drive.
Okay. So Sudbury was your stomping grounds growing up. Yeah, your mom, your dad, yourself. You have two younger sisters.
Yes, they're twins, and I love those girls. They, there was a quote I read the other day, and it said something like, "The best gift that mom and dad gave us was each other."
That's awesome.
It was on a gift or something, and I love those girls. They, the older one by a minute, Stephanie, he gave me a nephew 9 years ago, almost 10. And I love being auntie. I can be a motivational speaker, author. I could be a coach, a mentor, a friend, you name it. I could be all these big, grand titles, but auntie is my favorite. I love being Auntie. It's so much fun, and I'm so grateful for that kid. He looks up to. Oh, that's a great picture. I love it. Stephanie is on the left, and Jennifer is
Okay.
on the right, and I'm in the middle. Oh my God, that's in the 90s, maybe
That's awesome.
1990. That's an awesome picture.
Yeah, I love that picture. I love it. There's nothing like family, I'm
Life,
telling you.
life. Yeah, it's true. Like those people. Those are my people. They have been there through the best and worst times of my life. And they
Hmm.
still support my crazy as every day. They still love me to no end. It is unconditional love. And like I can be a handful. My family knows me very differently than like the people in my city. I'm it's just different. But family is everything and I'm so grateful for them.
Yeah, and then so growing up,
We're a
like,
fun
I'm sorry.
I said we're a fun bunch.
Oh, I can imagine. No, I can just imagine. You guys would be a hoot. So you're growing up. You're in the Sudbury area or just outside of Sudbury. As a child, though, like, were you into mischief? Were you the type that was like, I know I was the same as you in school. I was the type that was very shy. Don't call on me, teacher, please don't call me. Or getting up in front of the class to do a speech or read a
Yeah,
poem. I would have like the cotton mouth type of thing, no matter how much you drank before. I
yeah,
mean, that was me too growing up. You'd never know it now, but back then. But growing up, like, were
right.
you into sports? Were you athletic? Were you more of the academic? This is like before the accident and everything. Like, what were you like
Oh
before the
no.
accident?
Yeah. Um Before the injury, I like to say.
Yes, exactly.
I one of the shortest children in my class. So when it was time to pick teams for dodgeball or floor hockey or any of the fun sports, I was always picked last. And the fastest kid in the class, his name was Steven, and he was the smartest. He ran fastest, he jumped the furthest, but I wasn't tall. I didn't jump very high. I wasn't confident, so I wasn't academic. I was the social butterfly. I loved lunch. Lunch was because I get to, or recess. Well, when you get to hang out with your friends. And I find my calling until my 20s. Yeah. But we
Okay.
can get to that later on.
Oh no, definitely. We will definitely get that. But no,
Um, but mischief. One time I took spray paint. I forgot with one of my girlfriends, and we went and painted underneath the bridge. I don't know if I wrote my name. I don't think I was that stupid. Maybe, but it was just fun. Like we did some the law. You know what I mean? Well, okay, that's kind of breaking the law, graffiti, but no, we kept it to a minimum. We were just fun kids, just trying to have a good time.
yep.
I had a good group of friends, and yeah,
Were
life has
you
been interesting.
with family too? We talked about family, and then of course you have great friends, and we'll get to some of those friends, of course, after the injury and that, because that does show who your friends are. That one thing when reading your book,
Yeah,
very clear on that. But talking about you and your
yeah.
mom and your dad and your sisters and that growing up before the injury and that, were you guys a very close family? Were you rebellious a little bit before then? What are your sisters? Because sometimes when you
A
have
li-
two other siblings and they're twins and you're the non-twin, was there things that you felt left out in sometimes, or they had that connection and you don't, type of thing?
oh my god, that is so funny. Yeah, I'm the non-twin, and when yeah, sometimes they would gang up and pick on me because I was a little. It wasn't until later on in life when I started to lead, as a big sister, like follow my example. Yes, I was a little brat when I was little, and I was, yeah, my. I have stories. Um, we were a close family, and we went
That's good.
camping everywhere in the province, and I always had buddies to play with. I always had my sisters, but when I was a teenager, I went off because I wanted to be with my friends. But I
Hmm.
didn't become so close with my family until life got hard.
Yes.
So until like near death, your family is your best.
Exactly. No, I know exactly what you
Oh,
feel
I'm
like
gonna get
because
emotional today. I feel it. I am.
well, we're
I don't
going to
know if
try
it's
and
the
keep you
moon
from
or my
that. But if you do,
hormones.
don't be
I
afraid
don't
because
know.
that's nothing wrong with
Hey,
that. I mean, I've been through a lot like you have. I mean, my wife's had two
hey,
strokes in her
thank you.
life, and the last one was a really bad one. And but she's still here 15 years later, still with us. So I know exactly kind of a little bit what you're talking about. So, so now, why don't we lead people then up to the what the days going into this injury? Like I was reading your book, and it sort of does a whole story kind of leading up to what happened, and maybe we can get going into that a little bit. You can sort of do a little precursor of. It had to do, I guess,
Okay.
with a party, and you could talk about
It's
even
not.
AJ a little bit if you want to before that, and the whole what came behind it and how it started.
It's not nowadays. That's not as important to me, but I will
Hmm.
still share that with you and your audience. The Do you know what retrograde amnesia is?
I've heard of it. I don't know a lot about it, but I have heard of it.
Okay, that's what I have.
Okay.
Among a whole other list of things. I like being unique, by the way, and we'll get into the whole normal. Um, Retrograde amnesia is a loss of consciousness, the lack of memory prior to losing consciousness.
Okay.
So when you say leading up to the days before the accident,
Hmm.
I have no memory. I've been told some things,
Hmm.
but and I believe them, but I don't remember a whole month prior to losing consciousness. We went to a house party in Hammer, which is part of the like hundreds of kids from the swimming schools went. A snowstorm that night. We drank beer out of red Solo cups. We watched a band outside. I wore my favorite jacket. I had a cute little outfit on, and there was this little boy that I had a crush on, and I held his hand and I smooched him, and I was with all my friends, like all my friends. It was a super fun time. You pay $5 to get in. You got a bracelet, and you got to stay for the night. But there were no cell phones back then, so when it was
Hmm.
time to leave, and the owner asked everybody to get off his property. There was no cell phones to call for a ride. So next best thing, walk down long stretch road to the nearest payphone. I showed my nephew a payphone on the weekend and we said, "Look, do you know what that is?" And he had no idea. We said, "Will you put make phone calls?" It was so funny. And that just it ages me a little bit, but I'm still young and vibrant nonetheless. As we were walking to the payphone, which was about a kilometer away in the snowstorm, some of the students from our school had left and they were older than us and they were driving. And the passenger said, "Watch out." And he pulled the wheel to avoid us. And the driver corrected and piled into the 7 kids on the side of the road. And the rest is history. I
Hmm.
woke 2.5 weeks, brand new life, the same name, some childhood memories, but I woke up and I had no hair because they had performed major surgery on my face, and I am so. Where is it? Okay, I have a tattoo right here, and it says
Okay.
"Great." I'm very grateful for Dr. Kettle. I love. He just this year completely the beauty in my face and the bone structure like me, and I'm aging well.
Of course you
I
are.
It's not to say I don't live without pain. I live with pain, and we're gonna get to that
Hmm.
later on in this interview. Am I answering your questions?
No, you are, and you
So
are,
what
and I
happens when
think
I
it's
wake
very
up to
important.
uh,
I'm sorry. Did we, oh, there you are.
okay.
No, I said it's very important. I think that, like you said, that talking about how after the injury, like there's a lot of stuff you don't remember from before the injury, because I think people think that, okay, they had an injury, but you're here today, so you must now have all these memories of what happened or everything. And like you said, I mean, it affected you quite a lot there, and to the point where you don't remember a lot of stuff other than maybe what people are telling you or told you about. So I think it's remarkable, all the stuff you've told us already, because some of it's probably from your memory, but I guess some of it's also from what you hearsay, from what you heard from other people explaining things too.
Yeah, it's hard. Oh my God. Speaking of memory, I just had to write myself a note because I know I'm going to forget that. And there's some, I had to explain something to somebody this morning about memory. It was one of the girls. I actually, I therapy now. It's been 9 weeks for my hand, and it's brilliant. I've had these people on my show, and they are. I'm regaining the dexterity in my left hand, the stroke affected side, and
Mm-hmm.
it's amazing. Anyway, I was at NORCAT earlier today, and I was telling one of the technicians about memory because I was explaining something, and I said my memory is like Swiss cheese in it, so I may not. But I say things with conviction, and people believe me because I believe what I'm telling them. Like I, there are actually scans. Was it a brain, an MRI or some sort of brain scan, and they were
Mm-hmm.
able to see false memory. I create false memory. I'm that full of beans. My brain is false. That tangent. I'm sorry, John. Happens. That's that.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. I like that. You're full of beans.
Okay, that's how I roll.
But I'm like going back to the book and listening to what happened and everything. Like just the thought of, like you said, you wake up and you don't know what's going on. You don't know why are you here, what's going on. It must have been a very scary.
No, it was terrifying. I didn't. I felt imprisoned in my own body, and it does say that in the book.
Yes. And I think I remember seeing.
Remembered my name.
Okay.
No, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say I even remember you even mentioning that because you wrote a letter, I think, to one of your sisters or both your sisters on their 13th birthday. It said in here, and in part of it said, "Happy birthday and thank you for visiting me in my prison or in my jail or something like that."
In jail. Yeah. Thanks for.
Yeah.
P.S. Thanks for visiting me in jail. Aw.
Exactly.
Oh, I haven't read the book in a while. You're bringing me back, John. Um. Yeah, that was in rehab. That was when I had to create or recreate this new identity of who Candice Kirkbride is. And people
Mm-hmm.
know who Candice Kirkbride 2.0 is. That's this lady now. And I turned 37 years old, and I have learned so much in the past 21 years. Uh, I can write volumes about it. I'm not done yet. I'm still on my purpose. I have not
Mm-hmm.
fulfilled it yet, but I'm on my way. I feel that very strongly.
Yep. And
Okay, well, but that's
and
just my
just so people get an idea of how injured you were, like it says, I'm looking at like your initial CT scan indicated it was a basal skull fracture and a severe depressive skull fracture in the right frontal region. It was also a blowout fracture of the skull in the
yeah.
left frontal region. Like these were very serious injuries. And then, if I'm not mistaken, to keep the swelling down from your brain, from your skull, they even took a plate of your skull out and to relieve the pressure.
A, a bone flap.
Yeah.
They removed this part of my skull to remove, like, to allow swelling and the brain to subside.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I only know like the medical terms from what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
But what does the brain not like?
to be touched. I don't know.
The brain, okay, no, yes, there's dura around the brain. That's
Okay.
like some tissue. It's like a casing around the brain.
Okay.
But the actual brain does not like blood.
Okay.
It does not like blood. So if it gets injured and there's blood on the brain, that's not good. So then my window. Um hematoma, no, a hematoma, what's a hemorrhage, the blood
Yeah.
on the brain. So
Hemorrhage.
then
Yeah.
they had to, so I still have the little bump in here. They had to put a tube there and gross. Okay, anyway, to subside swelling. So that was out for 6 whole months, and the big dent in my skull. It was horrifying. I don't want to relive that.
No.
I had a bicycle helmet I used to walk around with, and it was hell.
Yeah, and then if I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, when they had to attempt it twice to put the platelet back on the flap, sorry, the bone flap, and the first time, if I'm not mistaken, they put it on, and you had that. Isn't that where you had your stroke?
Yes, so they replaced it, and it was too soon. I swelled again, and people who know me and they know how I walk, like it affected the left side, so my arm twists out like this. It hyperextends. My shoulder is just like that, and then my pupils were completely dilated. So they went out and they took it out again. But the funniest part in the book.
I wonder if this is the thing about your dad. I don't know, but
it's just no. It's when they went to recap in August of 2001, there was a misplacement of something.
Oh yes, I do remember reading. Actually, I just read that today.
Okay,
no, I won't say a word.
That is the best part of the. No, people have to read it. It's the best
Yep.
part of the. Oh my god!
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I remember that. And you were joking with your parents in there. I remember that. Now, I think one of the funniest parts in the book was later on when everything does get finally put in together and everything, it's back on there. You don't have to wear the helmet. And I remember you said that one of the setbacks from your injury is that, and maybe you've changed it since then, but I know back then when you wrote the book was how trying to distinguish between realism and sarcasm. And the one part in the book, if you don't mind me saying, was the funny part your dad came out with when he was talking about when they were putting you back together, and he was commenting on Black & Decker, saying, man, they did a great job. Why don't you tell everybody what happened, like what you did after you heard that?
He said the tools that repaired my face were made by Black & Decker. I thought that was awesome. Oh my god, they could do a commercial that said Black & Decker saved my life. Yeah. I went downstairs and I wrote this letter to Blacker telling them what happened to me and ultimately thanking them for saving me. And then I told my dad like a week later what happened, and said I was joking. I was being sarcastic. Well, you could have told me. And I was so mad that I had wasted a stamp.
That's the funny part. You're thinking about wasting a stamp, and I'm thinking, all I could think of is, I wonder what the look on the face of the person at Black & Decker when they got this letter, what they thought.
I didn't know that he was being sarcastic, but I went
That's awesome.
Completely graduate from speech therapy. I graduated from speech therapy, and I learned what inferencing was, and the book is actually a metaphor. Changed by the rain is a metaphor. So I don't know. Did you get to chapter 5 yet?
Yes, I am now at I think almost done. I'm like around chapter 9 or something like that. I think I have 1 chapter or 2 chapters to go.
Oh, did you? Okay. Did you get the metaphor of changed by the rain?
Yes, it's in here
The
somewhere, but I'll
analogy
let you explain
being
it.
a
Yeah.
raging bonfire.
Mm-hmm.
The
Just tell.
brain being a raging bonfire, while the personality, Candice is
Yeah.
the heat and smoke, and brain injury is the water on the bonfire. So
Yeah,
the
because that
heat
was
and
one of your
smoke have
therapists that talked about
changed.
that.
Dr. Matheson, yes, he inspired the title of the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's brilliant.
It is
Well,
very brilliant.
that's
And
because thank you. Wow, it's obviously biased. I think great title. He helped me understand what having a brain injury means. And if you want to get deep and like talk about awareness, 21 years later, I know so many times in a day when I think, did that just happen? I, as far as my decision making, I am so unaware of my inefficiencies. I think I'm a rock star every day. I'm such a rock star. I can take on the world. And then I make these decisions that my brain thought it was suitable for me to do. And it just wasn't. It's
mm-hmm.
I still will lack a lot of awareness.
Yep.
But do you have any questions like when you were reading the book so far? Do you have any
Not
personal questions?
necessarily.
I'll tell you if I'm comfortable or not.
No, definitely. No, I don't know if I've got like many personal questions. I'm just comments basically because the one thing I was really because one thing I loved, like I said at the beginning of the book, and I think I told this yesterday, or day before, something we were talking about doing the interview again, was how descriptive it is. It's very, very
Yeah.
well at painting a picture, if that's the right word for it, of not only what happened
Yeah.
to cause the injury, but then all the rehab that you had to go through, the people that helped you through it, from the therapists to the speech therapists to the doctors, like because you were not. I'm gonna look at it as you probably weren't the easiest patient to deal with because reading this, a lot of it came through like you rebelled a lot only because you're like, no, I'm fine. I could do this. I could do, and you rebelled a lot. And they were not just
Yeah.
telling you no, but they were very patient with you. And then I think that helped you through it. And then with the
Yeah.
IT person too, maybe you can talk a little bit about your therapists, the different ones, and the kind of therapies that you had to go through, how extensive it was, because you went like through a good
Oh
2 years
my
of therapy before you could even graduate high school. Now you don't have to
Yeah.
go everything and descriptive and everything, but just maybe
Before I
it's a
went
way
back.
you can give some shout outs to some of those people too.
Oh my God, that whole rehab team was exceptional. IT stands for intervention therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it as having a babysitter. I was 16 years old, and my psychologist thought that because I lacked judgment and awareness, that I needed to have an intervention therapist come with me to hang out with my
Mm-hmm.
friends, go bowling, or to go, I don't know, shopping center or a basketball game. So this therapist, which he always chose a really cool therapist, like a young woman to hang out with me. And I thought like that I was being babied because I needed to be supervised.
Mm-hmm.
And read in the book that there was one time that the intervention therapist looked away while I thought that it was okay to jump off the bleachers. And it was like
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 steps high. But you have to know, like, because I communicate very with people and I can get anybody to open up with them. Yeah, I communicate very well. Big deal. I don't see very well. I have a lack of depth perception. So I thought that it was only like this high up when it was actually like this high up. And when the E turned around, I jumped around and I could have got hurt. I felt the pain go through my knees. And anyway, it was just kind of a
I think it
glimpse
was a
into like
realization for
my
you that you still needed help.
my yeah. And I I've come to terms with the fact that I do need help, and I have an ankle foot orthoses that I haven't worn in
Mm-hmm.
several years because I have a walk with a limp. It's no secret. and it's really bad. So I got it repaired, and the technician so shout out to Dan Mead from Sudbury Orthotic and Prosthetic Design. He fixed my brace, and now I can wear it, and the neighbors are, oh, did you see Happy outside? He calls me Happy. It's funny. And I'm like, you know, my name's Candice, right? He's like, yeah, I told my wife, I call you Happy. So he says, Happy's limp is gone. And they're like, oh my God, what happened? I'm like, hello, I've had this brace for 12 years. It's not new. Like, I had a stroke a long, long time ago. I don't want to talk about it. Don't ask me. It's an assistive device to help me walk. People should say, you know what, Candice? You took your pride, you put it in your back pocket, and you put on your brace. Good you. You know what I mean? I want people to stop saying, like, what is that for? So I said to somebody the other day, if it was a prosthetic, would you still ask me about it? And they said, no, of course not. I said, okay, well, that's just leave me be. Just don't helps me. Mike helped me see. So don't ask me about it. I know it just kind of irks me a little bit.
Yeah, my wife has one for her left foot that she hasn't used in years herself, because she has a drop foot and from hers, and so walks with a little bit of a limp too. But she just found it uncomfortable because it would dig into the side of her and stuff. So I kind of know. I think it's probably similar to the one you have. It might not be exact, but it's probably similar. It's a spring-loaded one that will pop her foot back up a little bit when she walks. So, but I know exactly what you're talking about. But
does it have a hinge?
I'm sorry?
Does it have a hinge? Like
yes.
At the ankle, so that she can't drop her foot?
Well, it's got the hinges on the side because her ankle wants to sort of, where is it here? It wants to, as she walks, it wants to turn in and it drops. So it keeps it trying to keep it straight, and then it's got springs on it so that when her foot drops, it pushes it back up again.
Mine can't go down. It totally prevents me from limping. It's brilliant.
Okay.
So I've been wearing it for about a week now, and I feel really good. I have a pain in my leg because I haven't worn it in like almost a decade, but whatever. It helps me, and if people don't like it,
that's what matters. So moving on, now you went through rehab, a lot of rehab, of course, and for like people, and I don't bring a lot of this stuff in here just to rehash stuff, but it's more, I want people to understand what you went through, because you went through, like I said, injury with your brain, of course, which caused you, for lack of memory, it causes you tough to concentrate. It keeps you from just normal sitting in a classroom and dealing with the things going around.
Yeah.
But it also it affected your sight too, like you said, with your peripheral vision and things with your eyesight and with your limp. So these are things that you've had to overcome, not necessarily be able to get rid of them all, because a lot of them might not ever go away, but you've learned mentally how to overcome a lot of these to be successful. And I think a lot of it too, to bring it back out to, like, say, the end of high school where you were graduating, there was that one teacher that you had that had you say a speech, I think, in front of the class or the school or something like that. And I think that's what started your career off right there.
Shout out to Mr. Gilbert Briscoe, that guy. He's and he asked me to speak in front of the students, and I thought, like, I need to get this message. And after I did, I kept my glasses on, and I wasn't shy, and everybody in my eyes, and I was like, I just on fire, need to share my message. And then all of a sudden, this message was creating itself, and I decided to join Toastmasters and to write the book and to share my message all over big stages all over the province. And I even spent a Toastmaster conference in Cincinnati, Ohio. Crystal City in Washington, Virginia. I spoke, which was pretty awesome. And so the United States Air Force hired me because Toastmasters is not for profit. So the district director at the time, he worked for the U.S. Air Force. So indirectly, like, he paid out of pocket for me to go to the conference, fly there, fly back. The whole weekend was paid for the U.S. Air for this little blind woman from the valley. I felt awesome. It was so great. I got to watch, move, and inspire the people of this Toastmaster conference, and this man, he believed in me. I thought, but it goes back to Mr. Briscoe. He was the first person to believe that I could make a change and that I can inspire other people. I used to go speak at the hospital for about, oh my God, maybe 14, 15 years for the party program. And I taught students about the effects of their choices and talked about impaired driving. But that's not something that I'm focused on anymore. But Mr. Briscoe did. He was the person to believe in me. And as a result of that, it helped me to believe my path and the impact that I could have on people. And it's been such a journey. Like so you see, I have some awards over there.
Yeah.
Well, when I moved to this place and the last place, my nephew, he always comes visit me, and when he saw my new desk and he saw my award, he says, "Oh, Eddie, you know what? You have some really nice awards. Good for you. You worked really hard to get those." He says, "You need to keep working really hard, Auntie, because you want to get more awards." I said, "Yes, babe. And you have to do the same thing. You've received awards at school." He just finished grade 4. And in junior kindergarten, he got the empathy award.
Good for him.
Because he's that much of a loving, caring little other students. And I encourage him to go after his dreams. And that's just something I'm proud of.
Well, I just think it's awesome that you talked about as a child, you were very shy. You didn't want to get up in the front of the class. Not only did Mr. Briscoe get you to do that one speech there, but then you took it upon yourself. You got the willpower and said, you know what? I want to do this again. You went to your principal and you wanted to do something at graduation. And then you found out at that time, you were actually winning an award at that time too. I think it was called I'm looking at Mary Martin Memorial Award.
Yeah.
What was that award for?
Or
do you remember?
Mary Martin Memorial Award. No.
It said that
it was for an exceptional. Yeah, his name was Scott. Oh, such a nice guy. Martin Memorial was for perseverance. Basically, it was named after a student with I don't want to say disability. Maybe she did have disabilities, but like challenge. Let's call them challenges.
Challenges, yeah.
I hate the word disability because I am so able, John, but I'm just more willing than other people.
I love that. You don't like the word disability because I can tell you people that have all the functions of their body and their brain and everything. To me, I would call them disabled because just they're nasty people. But we won't go there, of course. But no, I like the way you said it.
Thank you. Like I run business, multiple stream my business. I'm successful or not. I'm still doing it, but it's because I choose to. I'm not going to just give up and no. You want somebody to think? See this eye? She runs the show. So before COVID, no, that's like a true fact. Before COVID, a host and the producer of a live speaking event called Mo Monday Sudbury. It was the 13th one in the country. No big deal, right? Well, she ran the whole show. I was in charge of booking speakers for my stage every month. It was a live speaking event, selling tickets, promoting it online. Oh God, my dad so much more messy than it is now. Anyway, with one eye, I ran that business and it was successful. And I'm so proud of that because I believe that I could. And I brought all these people together through stories and the power of story. And the reason I did that, John, is because it started with me going horrific journey to connect people through stories. I don't. That's just how it happened.
That's
it's
awesome.
Weird how it's funny how life turns out, and you kind of look back on it and put all the dots together.
And I think a lot of help that made a lot of how successful you are and the person you are. And I don't want to go into the details of it because I want people to read the book. I want people to buy the book and read the book. That's why I'm trying to. I only say some details in the
Thanks,
book, the
John.
ones that are funny, but I want them to read it. But one thing was the one of my favorite chapters. I think is probably around chapter 7, chapter 8, something like that. It was called forgiveness, and I think that is probably in this book one of the most important parts of the book because with everything that you went through and your family and everybody, I think that one point where you were able to sit down with that one person, and I'm not going to tell everybody the whole story because of the book. I want them to read it, but I think
No,
that puts you on the
that's the
path
best part of the
to
book.
where you are now. So I think that's one of the most important chapters in this
Yeah.
book. And I don't know if you agree with me or that on that or not.
Yes, that is pinnacle of my message, my story, everything is forgiveness. That is the day, John, that I decided to wish happy whatever day it is. Happy Tuesday, by the way. Um,
Happy Tuesday.
and it became on the radio, and everybody in the city started saying it because I was like, Happy Tuesday, or Happy Sunday, Happy Monday, Happy Thursday. I loved life all of a sudden because all the anger lifted off me, and life loved me back. But the whole time I had that power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
It's that
it
anger, like you say in the book, the anger that you hold into
yeah,
it does. That's
I let
almost
all of
was
that
the
go.
disability, really, when you think about it. But you have all these injuries, but that's how I look at them. They are just injuries, but the disability was that anger you're holding. Once you got rid of that, there was no disability. I don't know if that made sense the way I explained it.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, because I was blaming all my hardships,
Hmm.
circumstance, and or a person. And I not only forget, I didn't forget what happened.
Hmm.
Things happen. I forgave him,
Good.
and I looked him straight in the eye. Okay, I'm not going to tell the whole story. You have to read the book. It's the best.
No,
It's
exactly.
it's
No, I
it's
agree with
the
you.
best
And
story in there. It's so good for me.
so
I cried
now,
so
why
hard.
don't we go now
Yeah,
into more things about today now? Because now everybody knows now the story and they know to buy the book. You want to
today.
read exactly what
Yeah,
happened. I mean, the book is so amazing. It's triumphs. It's down in the dumps.
it's
It's getting
okay.
back up
It's
again. Like it's a great. I think it's a great book myself. It's a great message in there, and
thank
so we'll get them to buy
you.
the book. But now, since then, I mean, we move on from high school, you go to college, and now all of a sudden you're looking, like you said, you got Toastmasters, you're involved with that what's called
I
party.
worked.
If you want to explain party there.
Yeah, it stood for prevention and alcohol risk trauma and youth. I was at the hospital, and we had a high school class go through there through a mock situation of what an accident victim would have to go through emerge through all the therapy in rehab, and then in the afternoon after lunch they would come to meet the survivors. So there was me and there was my friend Rob made decision when he was under the influence, and he took a shallow dive and he broke his neck, and he's quadriplegic, so he's in a
Mm.
wheelchair. He loves the Sudbury Wolves, and he has tickets to go see them, and that man is so grateful. He's so happy. Sorry for the sirens. My window's open. It's just really warm. I don't live too far from the hospital. There's sirens all the time. Where was I going with that? Oh, the party program. So I did that for, oh my God, I don't even, 13, 14, 15 years maybe. I went on to speak at, am I going off tangent?
No,
That
not
was
at
the
all.
party
No, I
program.
think your microphone cut out a bit, just so I can
And
explain. Party program was
okay.
prevent alcohol
Oh,
risk related
sorry.
trauma and youth. So I think it cut out when you were explaining that, but no, I think that's
Yes.
perfect. And like you said, then from there you went to I guess mentor with the Brain Injury Association.
Yeah. That was helpful. I'm still a member of the Brain Injury Association. I just don't attend meetings because I feel like my path is somewhere else, and I'm not
Mm-hmm.
focused on much my injury. I'm focused on other things. And I don't think that I can thrive in that environment, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I say
totally.
that out of all love and respect for, I
Mm-hmm.
love that association. They really did help me in many ways, but I feel like I needed to spread my wings and fly. Oh my God, if I could fly, I'd be very south from here. Okay. I'm just saying. We'll
So
get to
from all
pain
these,
later,
so from all
but
these, it's
yes.
opened up all these opportunities for you. So now you probably speak on a lot. What are some of the places that
Yeah.
you do go and speak now to get the word out and stuff?
Know how proud I am, John. This year in March, I got to speak after the pandemic. It's the first time I got to speak in front of humans in person. It was amazing. It was at Cambridge, well, Barry College. They are a part of Cambridge College. It's up for upgrading students. And so they're going back to get their grade 12 equivalency and then go off to do their college courses. I gave a workshop that my coach, Mr. Neil Dunsmore, helped me craft, create, effect. Oh, years went into creating that workshop. It was a vision board workshop for the students. I have a photo that I posted on Facebook. At the end of it, all I was there for over an hour. I was paid for an hour, but I gave maybe closer to two. The students had their whole like next years of their life mapped out on something very similar. Do you see that? That's
Yep,
my
we can see
vision
it.
board. It's pretty lofty and cool. I like it. Anyway, there's some personal goals on there, and I
Good.
keep out look at it every day. All the kids had their vision board completed at the end, and they were marked on it. The teacher gave them a grade for this, and I didn't know that, and they loved it so much, and it was so fulfilling for me to hear that I helped somebody like that.
Mm-hmm.
I helped them, and I was like, this is what I used to do before the pandemic. I used to be with people and inspire them to make change in their life. Like I wrote a book. Anybody can write a book. You know, I wrote it with like very limited vision, and I hired to help me with the book. And yes, there's editing mistakes and whatever, but that's not me. That I took a loan out to pay for the book. But if if I could give you one advice, any piece of advice, it would be to publish Canadian. If you are thinking about publishing a book, because that's just a better way. I was at my friend. Where's that book? Oh, it's on the couch. My friend Jill Ann, she wrote a book called A Space of Gratitude, and it was published by a company in British Columbia. And I thought that was awesome. Her first book, A Space of Gratitude, after she lost three pivotal men in her life, her grandfather, father, and her best friend. And anyway, so she published Canadian, and I thought that was brilliant. I didn't know any better. I just went with a couple of my girlfriends who, and I was like, oh, well, they went with iUniverse, so I'll go with iUniverse because they didn't know because I do research on it. Anyway, I loved writing the book,
Mm-hmm.
publishing it, and people are still seeking me out. I had a friend today message me from high school,
Mm-hmm.
Gregory, and he saw me at the NorCap building today. I don't know if he's watching this, probably not, but he wants to buy a copy of my book and he wants me to sign it for him. And I thought that was so sweet. Some people just give such encouraging words. It's so nice. And I think more, but everybody, the encouragement that I receive,
Mm-hmm.
I just wish more people could receive that kind of encouragement. You know what I mean? So I try to spread that karma
Mm-hmm.
everywhere I go. I try to encourage everyone.
No, exactly. And I think one thing that, like you said, getting you through everything was not just, it was family, it was your friends. Especially, I remember a friend Natalie you had in the book there. Do you still talk to her today?
Oh my God, of course. Her daughter has my name. I kid, I love that woman. She we're growing up together. We have grown up together, and now, we're thinking about the next years. Her daughter is becoming a woman, and she'll be 12 at the year. And so those are the next stages in life. And I'm trying to plan for my retirement, and like I'm thinking about the future. And I talk to her on the phone all the time, and our grandparents are going through something very similar. So
Mm.
um,
No, I think it's great because I think it's something that happened to
end of
you. I think
life,
that
but when
brought the two together, a bond there that nobody could ever replace. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. So our grandmothers are going through Alzheimer's. And,
Mm.
it's really because, well, obviously it just is because it's, you know, they're starting to forget things and places and people and memories, and it's just hard. Like I've heard, like we see life very differently. She's married and she has a child, and I live alone and I run a business and I know everybody in the city, and and just we live very different lives, but
Mm-hmm.
at the same time, we're still growing together, like we're still those childhood friends that we check in with each other, once a week or more. When I'm going
Exactly.
through a hard time or whatever, we laugh, we cry, like I love that. Of course, I'm still friends with her, but good question. Hey, maybe
Yeah. No,
she's
I was just
watching
wondering because
tonight.
some people they
I hope
do.
she is. Shout
Hopefully,
out to
she
her.
is.
Love girl.
And my friend Leah, who's watching right now, she's like, sometimes a simple word of encouragement is all it takes to keep us going.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Leah.
Yeah,
I love
very
that.
much so. And
So it is.
we
Oh,
actually,
you didn't make it. Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't make it.
Hmm? So
No, it's just there's a little bit of lag sometimes. So if sometimes we talk over each other, it's nothing on
yeah, I
purpose.
saw
It's just the
that.
way the lag goes and that. So, but no, Leah's actually her
That's
husband's
okay.
actually going to be on our show in the future too. Her and Paul, I'm hoping Leah's coming on with her because
Oh,
they've
that's
got a great story to
awesome.
tell herself. So I'm glad to see she's watching and that. But no, I like the one thing that people don't realize is with everything you went through. I mean, like you said, with awards and everything. I'm looking at just on the back of your book right now, and I'm looking at it, and it's the, with everything that happened, I mean, most people would be thinking
Yeah.
about just trying to survive. You're thinking, I'm going to go get my high school diploma. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do it. And it says, right, like you got a diploma from Cambridge College in General Arts and Science. In 2010, you received the Young Leader Award from the Community Builders Awards of Excellence for her leadership and vision. And in 2013, she was nominated for the Premier's Award of Excellence for recent graduates from the Government of Ontario. I mean, nothing's holding you back, that's for sure.
Oh. No, you know what, John? Oh my God, thank you for that. That's so nice. That's so nice. And you know who doesn't and what does not hold me back? This lady right here. Last winter, I was telling somebody this day. I was so afraid that my physical pain, the pain itself, I thought that was going to kill me. I thought that would envelop, like, like, just, not that I would do it. I have nothing to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I am stronger than that. I'm not gonna. Don't worry. I don't need to sign a contract and end my
No,
life. No,
I didn't want to bring
I
that up because
love
I
my
did
life
read
so
that
much.
part. Yeah.
Then, dude, no. Oh, wow, that's a giveaway, right? But that's okay. It's you have to understand. I just thought that physically this pain was going to get me. Can I show you something,
You
John,
show me
that I am
whatever
so
you want.
proud of? Yeah. Okay, it's appropriate, I promise. Okay. Okay, see, it says grateful.
Yep.
What? What are you laughing at? I got this. Nope. Okay, wait. This month, and then at the end of the month. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm just waiting. You froze right there for a second. There we go.
Oh, it says she found strength and gratitude in the pain. That heart is a part of my signature on my business card. It has the heart. You see it? It's in the middle. Well, if you go to my website, you see the heart. That's part of my signature. So that pain, the strength in my pain is what keeps me going. I know I am strong enough to handle this pain, no matter how deep and agonizing it may be. Oh, there we go. That heart.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
There you go. Exactly. No, I wanted to show your website because
we
are coming to the end, so I wanted to make sure we see it.
Yeah. Thank you. I'm pretty proud of that, and that's my podcast.
Yeah, and
exceptional people, exceptional stories.
If anybody wants to go and check out any of them, you can go to candidmoments.ca and check out her podcast. Yeah, because we've only got maybe about another 5 minutes or so, why don't you tell us a little bit about your website?
Okay. The podcast. Anybody. Yeah. Everybody loves listening to podcasts, right? You can learn so much, and even if it's just like background noise, it's fun to listen to people and their stories. This one, I did not video because I didn't know what I was doing, but I did when I took Jenna Kutcher's course, and my girlfriend Paula gave this to me. It's from Jenna Kutcher. It says, "I am enough." I love this. So anyway, I took her course on how to start and bought myself this nifty mark. Learn trial and error how to conduct these episodes that I would record over Zoom, and I would find exceptional people in my community doing exceptional things and having a candid moment, kind of like we're doing, John.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love the mug.
Published 6 episodes of my podcast. I'm taking a break during the summer. No.
I heard you're going to have this awesome person from Petawawa on your podcast one day.
Yeah, I do have that written down on my list. John Butler, are you going to be one of my guests?
I will definitely be one of your guests, and I wanted to show this to people because I want them to go to get this book, and so I want.
Did you read what Sean wrote?
What right there? You mean?
Yeah.
No, but how about we read it to everybody? A typical teenage deception turns to tragedy, and here's this powerful account of human courage and determination. Compelled by the sweetness of first love, a young girl tells a fateful lie to her parents about her plans for evening that attends a party with friends. All of us have done it. It's almost a rite of passage, but for the shy, innocent girl, a terrible price is paid on a rainy walk home. Changed by the Rain details how one broken child cobbles herself back together and finds peace, love, forgiveness, and purpose in a painful and often heartbreaking aftermath. I can't recommend it strongly enough. And one thing that I want to add to that is one thing that I think is very unique to this book is it doesn't just tell your story, but a lot of people don't realize since your injury, you've gotten really into, maybe you did this a little before too, I don't remember, you got into poetry a lot. And this book is full of poetry that you've written. Through the book, some of the chapters start with the poetry, and then at the end of the book, which I haven't got to yet, but I will be, you've got a whole section just of poems, and I think that's amazing, and I hope people take the time to buy the book and read it, because it is worth the read and worth all the money. So.
Yeah. Can I tell you a secret?
You go right ahead,
Well,
although it won't be much of a
it's kind
secret
of a
now.
secret. No, okay, nobody knows except for my girlfriend Laura that I told, publishing company, and she's my neighbor and she's working on her website with her sister. She's going to be on my show one day when they are ready, but I have started to write a second book.
Good for
And
you.
thank you. And it's going to help so many people. It's about chronic pain. And I'm on a journey of healing myself. And I have a lot of research to do, and I still have a lot of living to do before this book is written. I just started writing it, and so because I put it in my mind and I put it on my vision board, it's for my life. That's going to happen. Say that's going to happen. And I think we'll need to hear that when you make that choice and it's just ingrained in you, it is set in stone. Go after those big lofty goals. I don't care how big they are. You can do it. Because I can too. That's why they Candice.
Exactly. Well, one thing I want to ask is that I'm looking at myself. Once we get a lot more episodes, maybe we get to about a 1-year anniversary. I'm going to come back to all of our past guests and maybe get you all on in one group type thing where we can get everybody on for maybe 5 minutes each, 10 minutes each, and just get updates from everybody on since being on the Butler's Babble, things that have happened since then. I think it'd be fun to find out where everybody's journey takes them to. And I know you and I, we met through my friend Rob, who actually was my guest last month. And because of that, you and I have talked quite a bit of times. I've got your book. We talk on here. We've become really good friends. And I know we're going to be keeping in touch for the rest of the time. I know that. You're very inspiring to me, that's for sure. And one thing I would love, do you have anything you would like to say to anybody before we leave?
The first person to believe in your dream is you. At the end of the day, that is all that matters.
Exactly. And I'd also like to read the last 3 lines of your book. It's the last thing in there that says making lemonade. I just want to read the last 3 lines from that because I think it's totally perfect. And it says, as I embark on a mission to touch, move, and inspire, some may think that their life is a lemon. And with my life, I've made lemonade, and it is sweet.
I'm
That's
proud of
a
that.
perfect way to end
so
it.
True.
Good
job, John. That was
I want to
thank
you for being
ending.
here.
It was so fun. It was really
so
nice
your book here, if I go on it, I think, is it through
and allow me to
Indigo? Correct?
changebytherain.com. It's on Amazon too. And
okay, it's on Amazon's. So changebytherain.com. And I guess this didn't change to the next page, but I actually went to the thing there. I think it's worth every bit of the money that you spend on it. It could probably be charged even more for that because just the hidden meanings in it, I think, is perfect. And I'm very proud of you, of the person you've become. That's for sure. I know the struggles you've went through, and I'm not going to say I know what you went through because, of course, I'm not there and I'm not going through what you're going through. I think it's just rude to say something like that. But I mean, what you've went through reading the book, it painted a big picture. And I think it's something that can help a lot of people just by reading this book because it shows them that no matter what, just never give up. Just keep on going, keep on plugging away, and life can be sweet, just like the lemonade, if you really choose to have it that way. So I want to thank you for coming here. I'm sure everybody else is.
Yeah, maybe.
Go for it.
Maybe your wife can read the book.
I agree. I will be giving it to her because I know usually when I read something, I give it to her and she ends up reading it afterwards too. So definitely, I know I've learned a lot from it myself, and I'm going to finish it probably by the end of tomorrow night, Friday at the latest, as soon as I get some little times in between my little shoots here. And I'm just happy, and I'm thank you for being here, and hope everybody else enjoyed it. So and then we've got some great guests coming up in our next ones. I hope you Candice will have a chance to listen to some of the other guests that we got coming up too. We got some really great stories, and maybe they'll help too.
Absolutely.
And I hope you enjoyed
I
yourself
would
on here, and I
love
look forward to being on yours.
one day. I did. Thanks. We're going to schedule that soon. And I'm going to see you in person one day because I need to sign that book for you.
That's right. I'm gonna come down and visit Rob maybe, and if not, he's coming here in September. I'll give it to him to bring to you and have it signed.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, thanks for being here. And if anybody has any questions, or you guys want to link up with Candice, like you said, you can go to candidmoments.ca. You can find her on Facebook. You can find her through me, and I can redirect you to her if you want. If you have any questions, or you just want to reach out to her and say how much your book like. And I'm sure if you really ask her really, really nicely, if you buy her book, I'm sure if you send it to her, she will sign it for you. So if you ask her really, really nicely.
Of course.
All right.
So
until
much,
next
John.
time.
I would never say no.
Well, I thank you. And until next time, I hope everybody realizes that we all have the power to empower, motivate, and inspire everybody in our world. And if anybody asks you, tell them the Butler did it.